Okay, we're back.
They say so.
We just have a couple agenda items for Concord. I think I'm going to turn the first one over to Dr. Hunter to talk about the new middle school.
Absolutely. So we have definitely entered our construction phase of the project. So the CTA has found themselves on site. There's trailers there now. They're still being wired for electricity and internet and all the basics that you need to actually operate from there. They've petitioned the site off, so for safety reasons. I think you saw there was a little question of the color of the fence. So that is being replaced to green. That's actually what's in the contract. It was a very royal blue there last week.
So it's not a change order. It's
no, it's actually
honoring their contract.
They used what they had available easily, and we're reading the contract now, and it did say green. So that's okay. That's okay. And then today we worked through some town permitting pieces that were outstanding. They are going to be clearing the site and doing all the site prep that they need to do. And we're going to build a school. So Bob's helping with query checks. Our HR office is running them all. I scan anything that flags. Like, we're just getting all the systems operational, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. And I think it's going to be an exciting summer. I think you're going to see the outline of the building take shape in the next few months.
They cleared a lot today.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
We're on my way here.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And if we identified a CTA person and a town of Concord person who's going to be likely on sites talking to each other, keeping us all.
That's a great question, because the building committee. So Hill International has added or brought back. Vin Miller was here 4 years ago. You might remember. He's our on-site project manager. So he's at the site every day, and he'll be housed in the trailer. CTA's identified an on-site project manager, Steve
Wheelie.
Yeah, we're still learning everyone's names.
K2. I don't know.
Yeah, so they'll have someone on site as well. So those are the two go-to people, and then they liaise out in both directions, and we've already seen that be pretty effective. So
is the next building committee meeting?
The end of June.
Okay.
So
I assume there'll be a lot more information at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We meet again.
Yeah.
Have you talked about the new goals of the building committee?
So we're going
to change.
Yeah. How does it change? And I'll only speak from experience, and this committee is going to evolve as well. Really, it's construction updates. It's processing change orders. Those are the two big buckets. Hearing that we're on schedule, hearing that we're schedule and budget, schedule and budget. We are going to see significant changes on the campus. They had phase A, which was to take over the site and still allow school to function, which is what's happening now through the end of this week. Then they're going to move into phase B. They're going to take that whole parking lot. Parking will be set up on the other side of the building. It's going to really, they're going to really take over for all of next year.
The next few years.
Yes. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of significant changes to the site over the summer.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to visualize, where will people be parking?
So if you're facing Sanborn, it's on the left side, which right now is field. The septic is there. They have to work around that.
Around the septic.
They're going to gravel it?
I believe they are going to gravel it a bit. It's almost going to feel like a different campus by the time I think we get.
Yeah, maybe somebody could draw a little map, because I'm trying to figure out how you would.
We have overlays. We'll send them out to you. Yeah,
because that's interesting.
Yeah. In my experience, like, they just take over that sort of space and they rework it so that it's usable for the new purpose, and it doesn't even look like the same.
If you drive up and down Old Marlboro, there's many close calls with people not paying attention to the stop traffic turning into the school.
Right. Well, traffic flow is a whole nother plan that's been made and being clearly talked about. In fact, it was part of the permitting discussion today that the town's aware.
So the school's going to lose the cross country field, track, whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, I'm sure there's plans are being made.
We're feeling really fortunate that the lower Sanborn field and the lower Peabody fields are still going to be available. Right. And I think we're reworking plans, knowing we've got those spaces.
Spring, obviously, as well.
Years before we get the fields back.
And they would move, for after school sports, it's easy to go use the Peabody field.
It seems like it's going to be pretty streamlined. So
Good.
more to come as we actually have to.
We have that field.
It's
Oh.
actually, that was talking to Justin Cameron and the part-time athletic director manager they have there. That was game changing that they had the lower Sanborn and the Peabody field that they could pretty much.
Nobody knows about that lower Sanborn field.
Yeah.
There's a field back there. No, there's not.
I know.
If you're a field hockey player, then you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what field hockey is.
People walk through that to get to the rail trail.
Yes.
Like that,
Yeah.
Oh, just went right out of my head. Sorry.
When's the next meeting date? It's not posted yet.
For the building committee?
29?
Yes, it's the last Thursday of June. Yep, the 29th. So we're transitioning into this new phase, which is so exciting.
It is really
It's so exciting. Yeah.
awesome. Is there anyone have any other questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, then we're just gonna move right on to Bob with the CPS budget update.
Okay, so documents. So I'll start with the general fund like I did for the regional district. Our CPS budget, 43,010,486. We've had expenditures to date of 36,630,417. Our open encumbrances, mostly payroll, are 6,068,293, leaving us an unencumbered balance of 311,775. Additional expenses we are projecting include the following: 72,000 in town allocated expenses for solid waste disposal and gasoline for our maintenance vehicles, and some small other items. We pay a small fee for an annual census that they do. Those are things we've already incurred. They just haven't journaled the expenses to us. 65,000 for placing an order for 2 additional school buses as part of our replacement plan. The 65,000 represents the encumbering the year 1 lease cost for each of those vehicles. 40,000 is payment on existing CPS vehicle leases that are about to be made. Technology order. This is a little different. This is not a prepayment. This is infrastructure that we need to replace, wireless access points across the elementary school buildings. Those will basically help us maintain connectivity in our buildings. There's additional estimated expenses of approximately 70,000. It includes some pending requisitions of 29,000. I believe there's some translation expenses that are not yet booked as well. But so the total is 70,000. Estimated total expenses of those items is 292,000. I will say there are more encumbrances here where we may see some. We're certainly going to work to review all the encumbrances, electricity, things like that. And if there are some savings, it's possible this balance will be a little bit higher, but not much. So we're projecting a little bit north of 20,000 for remaining balance. And then we have the homeless grant fund of $104 per student. It is 7 students. The ones who've been there the longest, it's 59 days. It's a little bit less for a couple of the others. So I've estimated that. I didn't get into the exact calculation. But with that, our anticipated final balance would be 53,775 in the general fund. We would put that to restoring our circuit breaker balances a little bit more. There's no need for us to prepay if you don't have a full circuit breaker. It achieves the same purpose. So that would be where we would direct that. I've also, related to this, shared the shelter costs. Sorry, the cost for supporting students that reside at the shelter, the educational costs and transportation costs. It's $67,876 for Concord Public Schools. That's our 50% share of transporting students to Boston and other locations. Again, we'll be reimbursed for that next year. And we'll certainly be looking into mechanics and ways to make that funding accessible for our FY24 budget, but with collaborate and find ways, hopefully a solution to that. There are some small additional costs for contract services and for tutors or a tutor. And the family coordinator salary. This is a 60% share of the same individual supporting both the high school and elementary and middle school students. And again, these are costs. These costs above are really incremental, dedicated costs for Homewood students, and they do not include all the support and services that we're providing with existing staff members to support students. And so, with the grant funding that we receive, we would offset some of those costs as well. The food service revolving fund at CPS is having a very good year and is projected to break even. It's actually slightly ahead of that now. June's a shorter month, so I'm projecting it'll come back to break even, which is a great achievement. When I came in, I saw that we were having to offset, the funds were running at a deficit in each of the districts. Some of that's not having an assistant director and one director. Some of that's the model, but it's certainly a tribute to the work that the teams do, the meals they put out that students are interested in. Universal Meals does help. And I think they're doing a good job in managing waste and efficiency. So that is great news to report. It's a little bit, I would also say it's also a little bit more challenging with a small Peabody building and a Sanborn building. When you have a combined building, it's going to be better. Circuit breaker, you may recall some of this from budget discussions. We don't have a full carryover. We're at 499,000, which is 69% of the allowable maximum. What we are allowed to carry over is the prior year receipts for circuit breaker. The receipts in FY22 were 718,180. That's what we would have been permitted to carry over. We anticipate what we know what the receipts are going to be absent any unprecedented change. We've had the rates communicated, what we're going to get from the state, 979,216. We are projecting to spend 725, which is exactly what we budgeted to spend. And what that will do is that will help us slightly increase our the percent of the maximal carryover. We'll get to 77%, but it'll also increase the absolute balance from 499 to 753. I would also say, we're projecting to use more than that next year, 837,000. We do anticipate, receiving more revenue next year as well. These are supporting more. Part of the reason for the receipts is there are more special education costs. So, I think we're in a good place with the year-end balance, trending in a positive direction. Certainly we'll need to keep an eye on out-of-district placements and things like that. And that's it. We don't have E&D. We don't have an athletic revolving fund to speak of. We have a small one at the middle school. So those are kind of the key revolving funds at CPS. I think we're ending the year in a decent place with 2 weeks to go.
You don't have any questions?
I don't know if it's appropriate. You're losing a key member of your staff. Are you going to rework that position at all? What's the thing?
I've got a lot of ideas and trying to figure out.
And premature, but
yeah,
it's okay.
It's an important position. He knows. He also has a lot of institutional knowledge. For what the pay range is, it's possible we could attract a sitting business manager in a smaller district or somebody who wanted to take a step back. That's the first piece that we need to focus on. We posted the position, had 2 applications within an hour of posting it.
Wow.
And I've had people reach out to me. So I think we need to focus on, the skills that we need. There's certain things that Ian is the expert on. That's certainly going to be one of the focuses. There are several things that he does that I have done in my last district, so I'll be less concerned about some of those, but there are big shoes to fill.
Definitely.
And he does have a week to change his mind
What's your timeline for filling the role?
as soon as I can, but realistically, I don't want somebody to start like when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Right.
Ian's here through early July.
Okay.
So he gave us a month's notice, which is exceptionally
Generous.
generous. Yes.
This might be the only public occasion we have to express our appreciation.
Yeah, we should have done it while he was on.
I know, and he left.
You can invite him to executive session.
You know what?
No, I'm just kidding.
Go closer to the microphone because maybe you can still say something. It will be captured.
Well, I think I speak for all of us on the school committee and the leadership team when I say that Ian Rames has been an extraordinary contributor. He's been with us for 11 years, and in many positive ways, I would say it feels like he's been here longer than that.
Yes.
Because of the imprint he'll leave, the impact he's had. In addition to his skill, he's just a pleasant fellow to be with and a real asset to the district. So we wish him well.
Yeah.
And thank him for his service.
I just have one question. I saw posting for a K-5 special ed coordinator. Did we have that before?
We did.
Talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We're just replacing
Okay, and who's leaving or who's taking on a new role?
Michelle Cerveris had the role this
Okay.
year.
I just remember.
I had one question. Have you heard any more from the state on funding to offset the tuition cost for out of district placements?
I had, you first, there was an encouraging email coming out of the Senate discussions from the supplemental budget. That's the last we heard them. Week ago.
Is that also part of the governor's budget, or is that we will hear when we hear?
Right.
I guess that's one fund. Another piece is the circuit breaker. If they agree to fund it at a higher percentage, it's another way we get
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
So either of those would help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other budget questions or comments? Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Maury.
So I'll bring the
Thank
final
you.
numbers in the August meeting.
August 15th.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, we don't have any action items, so with that, I'll adjourn the Concord School Committee meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you,
Right.
everybody.
Great.
Thank you.